played for Manchester United. It's Thomas who takes it. Oh, what a goal, Mickey Thomas!
I tell you, man, I tell you, welcome back in. It's good to see you again. I am so happy that it's the FA Cup. You know, the FA Cup is like a stress reliever for everybody. Harrogate fan, Wrexham fan, it doesn't matter who you are. But the FA Cup, well, it's no points. It's a good time to have a good time. I mean, you can just enjoy the game. And as you know, the FA Cup has so much history, some of which we're going to touch in this show. And you're going to see it as we go through it. And I'm going to highlight some of it as well. And if you're a Harrogate fan, there's stuff here for you guys. So stick around right to the end, whereby right at the end, I'm going to finish with a personal FA Cup big game story from a massive FA Cup game. And Wrexham fans, I say hello to you once more. And worldwide, Wrexham, I say big up to you. And as we go through this, you're going to enjoy my take on this first round FA Cup game between Harrogate and Wrexham AFC, which they're both AFCs, by the way. And you're going to enjoy it too, because there's going to come a little bit of humour like normal and a lot of good facts and some great highlights and some historical highlights. So I tell you what, it's the pre-game, the FA Cup pre-game. Harrogate 17th in League 2, Wrexham 3rd in League 1. And I said we were going to drop a place, and we did. But it wasn't that bad. Like I say, now it's a stress reliever for both sets of fans, yeah? Not fighting relegation, not fighting for promotion. It's a freebie. No points, nothing on the game, but FA Cup bragging rights. And for Harrogate, this could be a massive David and Goliath upsetter. And over the last few years, Wrexham and Harrogate have played each other a few times in cup competitions, so we're no strangers. And we've been there before, won and lost at their ground. This one, I'm going to tell you all about it. So stick around, read the menu. This is where we're going. Okay, now you know where we're going. Stats and stories head-to-head is next. Get right into that. I'll be right back. Before we go, got to thank 5 of you guys. And that was from last week's show. Just hold on before we get there. Michael Jones 9553. Cheers, brother. Lovely words. Soldier to Soldier HQ, you too. Grizzly 1719. Brilliant at times, my friend. Brilliant at times. Phil Weston 221. Yes, mate. Doing it. Brilliant. And mi amigo español, Ricardo Citera. And his number is Ricardo Citera 8663. Check out the head-to-head. I'll be right back. Again, I say welcome in Harrogate fans, and we're looking at the head-to-head between Wrexham, our club, and Harrogate Town AFC, your club. And I've got to say, it's been an interesting history so far. 10 games in total, and of them 10 games, we're going to tell you exactly how it's folding down between these two juggernauts in League 1 and League 2 in the FA Cup for their head-to-head this week. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Harrogate's won 2, 5 draws, and Wrexham AFC have won 3 games. So, hey, it could be dead level if Harrogate win this one. And if Wrexham win it, well, it's 4-2. Let's see what happens. Let's get back on screen. Alrighty, so there we go. There's your head-to-head. Now we're going to talk about the history. Wrexham AFC, a big up worldwide. Wrexham fans, big up. And Harrogate fans too. And hey, drop a line down below. Anybody? Remember, pay for your ticket. Like and subscribe. Join the family like everybody else. Now, talking historically, Wrexham AFC. Wrexham fans, when was the first time that Wrexham played in the FA Cup? When do you think that is? I mean, founded 1864. Yeah? 1, 2, 3. Well, it was actually 1883. There you go. So you get to see and learn something every day. But 1883, 1884... 1884, so 1883 to 84 was the first FA Cup season. Now, first round, Wrexham were in the competition. They weren't called Wrexham. It was listed as Wrexham Olympic, and they were taking on Liverpool Ramblers. And Wrexham Olympic got a walkover. Don't ask me why. That's what it says here in history. And that was November the 3rd to the 10th, somewhere in there. 1883. Can't get a better number on that one. If you can, let me know. Boom. Love you for it. Second round, FA Cup, 1883 to 1884, was Wrexham Olympic at home to Oswestry. Yes, another bloody club like you know, right? Oswestry, a place I've been. Yes, I have. And that was the 1st of December, 1883. Score? Score? Wrexham Olympic 3. Oswestry 4. Wow. Out of the cup. Done. There you go. The final. Who betested the final? I'm going to tell you that too, because I'm not going to be that cruel and not tell you who won the cup that year. Well, it was the Rovers who won it. Oh, you like who then? I'm not going to tell you. Blackburn Rovers 2-1 over Queen's Park. Not Queen's Park Rangers, Queen's Park. And that was the 29th of March, 1884. Now, here's the deal. That was Queen's Park of Scotland. Scotland, that's right, Scotland. Bloody right. Back then, you had the crossover, remembering Wales and the other Welsh clubs are Welsh, going into the English Football Association Cup, which is still going on to this day, right? Yeah. Well, Scottish clubs did originally too. Doesn't happen anymore because obviously Scotland has the Scottish Football Association Cup, right? So there you go. There's the breakdown on that one. And yeah, I do my best with the accents as well. Respectfully. So there's the final. Now, quarterfinals. Quarterfinals is where Wrexham really comes into play. Really comes into play. That's where pumping iron there, baby. 3 quarterfinals, 1973 to 74 season. It was Burnley away, and it was a 1-0 loss. So a 1-0 win for Burnley. That was March 9th, 1974. The next one was 1977 to 1978 season. Wrexham at home to Arsenal. 11th of March, 1978. And Arsenal win 3-2. Oh, wow. Then another quarterfinal, 3rd of 3, was 1996 to 1997 season. And it was Chesterfield away. Chesterfield were a good team that season. And it was 1-0 to Chesterfield over Wrexham, and that was the 6th of March, 1997. But thinking about the Arsenal, why do they call them the Arsenal? They don't say the Man United or the Liverpool or the Man City, the Arsenal. Oh, what is it? Tell me. Why is it the Arsenal? Let's have a laugh about this. But anyway, giant killing act for Wrexham was the 4th of January, 1992. Yeah. Oh, it forever goes down in history. I'm going to tickle on about this. Anyway, and you're going to see it in the highlights moving up here soon too as well. Yeah, and don't forget that drone flyover over Harrogate's Wetherby Road Stadium. It's coming up too soon. And I'm going to finish the show with the FA Cup story of a massive game coming up too. But the giant killing act of the 4th of Jan 1992 was against Arsenal. And it was at the Racecourse ground. And it finished Wrexham. Well, I'll go through the scoreline. The game kicks off. And at half-time, you're thinking Arsenal should be 2 or 3 up. And they're only 1-0 up from a goal from Smith on 43. And it was Merson that assisted it. Yeah, you're going to see it in the highlights. And it's 1-0 at half-time. Second half, the game's completely pretty much done. Late part of the game. And no matter what you're thinking, it's probably just going to peter out to a 1-0 loss, right? And then all of a sudden, Mickey Thomas gets a free kick on the edge of the Arsenal's box, on the edge of Arsenal's box, normal English. And yeah. And he wallops that ball in. You're going to see it. When he wallops it in, he goes right on his arse. I want you to replay the video and see Mickey Thomas go right on his arse after he hits it so bloody cleanly. His momentum puts him on the arse on the wet pitch. It's funny, and nobody talks about it. And I saw it when I was a kid. Yeah, did. Anyway, it's 82nd minute. It's 1-1. And Arsenal are not shocked. I didn't say the Arsenal, did I? I said Arsenal, right? Yeah. And Arsenal are not shocked, yeah? And they would be 2 minutes later. You're going to see it in the highlights. Watkin whacks one in. Beautiful finish. And Tony Adams looks like a donkey at the time, mate. Honestly, looks embarrassed. But it's 2-1 on the night. Big historical FA Cup giant killing act. That is the epitome of David and Goliath. You're not going to see much bigger than that ever in your lives. And that's why I love the FA Cup. And the attendance on that night, oddly enough, was 13,343. Now let's enjoy a little bit of a flyover over Wetherby Road, Harrogate Town AFC's ground. Enjoy this. It's lovely. Get ready for takeoff. Oh, yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So I hope you enjoyed that because I love drone footage. And John's channel down below, the link is down below, right? He does amazing, John. You saw John at the head of that video. He does a fantastic job. So many clubs that he has put his drones over. When you think about that, that means those clubs allowed him to do it. And that takes something to get really off the ground in itself. And think about the traveling, yeah? And the cost of doing all that as well. It's pretty amazing. So big thanks to John for aligning and for us aligning with him. And I'm sure that we're going to use more great footage of John's as we go to other places should we need to. But again, big thanks to John. And again, guys, check the channel down below. There's a link down below. Please visit the channel. John does great work, and I'm sure you'll appreciate flying high in the sky up above all those other clubs. Okay, let's take in the giant killing act of Wrexham over the Arsenal. The Arsenal, give me a break. But let's take a little bit of those highlights from such a magical day at the racecourse ground. And when you're watching it, look around the crowd and see how different it looks and how kind of somehow it has the same feel. Tell me what you think about that, Wrexham fans, because I tell you what, it really throws memories back. Enjoy. Be right back.
May have separated these teams last season, but it's the magic of the FA Cup that today they still see. Oh, he's run outside, Sartori. Now, surely, yes! Alan Smith saves Arsenal's blushes. Played for Manchester United. It's Thomas who takes it. Oh, what a goal, Mickey Thomas! He's done it, the magic little man at the venerable age of 37. And that has lit the fires. Seaman had no chance, it was right up into that top corner. Six minutes left. Watkin. Oh, he scored! Steve Watkin has got a goal! It was Adams who missed his clearance. Watkin reacted quickest, and from just outside the 6-yard box. It's 2-1 celebration. What a party there'll be in Wrexham tonight.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, because I really do love looking at the archives and checking out FA Cup, because I love the FA Cup. I really do. I enjoy the league, but the league is a battle, yeah? It's a marathon. The FA Cup, it's a few games to glory, and what glory can be had. You get into Europe, it's fame forever if you win that puppy. If you lose it, no one ever remembers your name. And remember, one of those trivia questions at the FA Cup, what's the one thing that's used at the FA Cup final that no one ever uses? Well, it is indeed the loser's ribbons. Yeah, simple. I know a lot of you guys know that, but a lot of people probably don't, right? Anyway, moving along, sharpish. Let's get into the prediction image. Come with me. Let's have a look at this right now. Heads up, if you're a Harrogate Town AFC fan, each week we bring the prediction image, and we're going to tell you exactly what we feel is going to happen on this massive first-round FA Cup game at Wetherby Road. I tell you what, I'm looking forward to this one. I really am. I love the FA Cup. But how far do you want to go in the FA Cup? Harrogate fans, Wrexham fans, because Harrogate fans need the points to get out of the bottom edge of the table, and Wrexham fans need the points to stay in the promotion hunt. But now we get a break with the FA Cup. Here we go. As you know, Wetherby Road is where it's coming off. Now, as for the scoreline, I've got to tell you, point blank, looking at the form, being quite honest, I mean, I know Harrogate don't give much up and they don't score many, but in this game, if they're going to get it done, I only see one. That's all I see, if any at all. Now, talking about the Wrexham, I've got to say, tricky place to go, Wetherby Road, and has been in history. You look back at the scorelines, Wrexham, we've had some tricky games there. Not many, but a few. But on this game, I see two. That's what we're going to get with the prediction on this one. Go with that. All righty, so moving along, we've still got that big FA Cup story that I had as a young guy. Believe you me, you want to stick around and get a load of that because it is indeed from a very historical match in FA Cup history. Once we get there, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'll give you a clue. It was between a London club and a North English club. And the year would have been between, not to give it away completely, the year would have been between, let's say 1978 to be 1984. That really makes it tough. But anyway, that's where we're going with that one. Now, talking the game itself, Harrogate fans, Wrexham fans, here we go. This is what I see. This is what I know. This is what I'm going to share with you. And by the way, pay for your ticket. Like and subscribe anytime, join the channel, and drop a comment down below. You can say what you like. Absolutely what you like. Just be nice with your views, whatever they are. Anyway, here's the form books of what I've compiled this week. We're going to go Wrexham first, then we'll get into Harrogate straight after. Away from Wrexham on the season, 2 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses, 6-4, 10 against for 42%. Not bad, not bad. For road form, it's pretty good, no? Pretty good. Only 2 losses. Wrexham's last 5 is 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss, 7 scored, 4 conceded, plus 3. Still not bad. On the points, it's 8 points from 15 for 53.33%. Again, pretty decent. Last match was Charlton 2-2 on the road. Should have been a 2-1 win, no doubt about it. The referee called a penalty on Wrexham right at the death for handball against Max Cleworth. I think it was absolutely ludicrous. Cleworth's arm was as tight to his body as you could have it. And, hey, you know what? I think the referee just didn't get it right. After the game, straight after the game, Phil tried to talk to the ref, but the ref was having none of it and was going to pull the ticket. And Phil was like, "Are you serious? You can't even talk about it, mate?" I know where Phil was coming from. Anyway, that's what happened at half-field with the referee and Phil. Anyway, Wrexham, last 10. 5 wins, 3 draws, 2 losses, 15 scored, 8 against, 18 from 30 points for 60%. So it's pretty handy. That's why they're in 3rd in League One. The form is good. The last win was Rotherham United away. That was the Mullen goal. That was the 19th of October. Mullen scored in the first minute. Wouldn't it be ironic if he did it here? Oh, wouldn't it ever? If he plays the team that Wrexham are going to play, I'll tell you now, Phil Parkinson is looking to utilise the squad on this, so don't look for the big lineup. Wrexham. And worldwide Wrexham fans, to add to that, I'm going to say you're going to see some bench players that haven't had time get time. I think what Phil is going to do is he's going to mould a team for this game where you're going to probably see more butlers than skillful players added. And I think you're going to see players that you haven't seen before. I'm not going to name names because it's at this stage, it could be one of like 20 odd, yeah? But I'm just saying, get ready to see players that haven't been used. Phil's going to utilize the squad, and he's not going to necessarily burn players for this game because you got a big fat game coming up against Mansfield Town in the next home game, November 9th. I'd be resting players in this game. I know it's the FA Cup, but I'd be resting game players in this game to save my game players for Mansfield. I'd have butlers and squad players in this game, and if we lose, we lose. But likelihood, the squad players are good enough to get at least a draw, if not the win. That's what I see. And remember, Wrexham unbeaten in 4. Now, where we look at Simon Weaver's Harrogate. And by the way, Simon Weaver, it's like he's part of the furniture. If you didn't know, everybody listening, Simon Weaver has been with Harrogate for like 15 years. He's May 2009 was when he took over. I'm going to give you his numbers right now off the board. 792 games coached, 305 wins, 196 losses, 196 draws, 291 losses. His winning percentage over 792 games, call it 800 games, is 38.51. It's not bad. Not bad. And he's been there 15 years. Now, home form, this is what we want to register in. This is why I think Wrexham's coming away with that 2-1 win, if not more. And if they get scored on. You never know. But they probably shouldn't, but you never know. But the home form for Harrogate, 3 wins, 4 losses from 7. 6 goals scored, 10 against, 42%. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Harrogate lost 5 is 1 win, 2 draws, 3 losses, 2 goals scored, 3 against. 2 scored, 3 against. They didn't score many, but they don't give up many. They're getting tight, right? So they're playing good football, tight football, organized football, but probably not finishing when they can, or not creating enough per se, or not having luck in front of net. Culmination of those 3. Go with that over the last 5 games. -1 on the goals clock right now. 5 points from 15 in the last 5 games for 33% on the points. Last match was Notts County away, 1-0 loss. Jatta scores in the 58th minute. So for nearly an hour, they kept it clean with another good club, Notts County. I'll tell you what, who doesn't remember Notts County here? Yeah, we do. We do. Harrogate last 10 is not so bad. 3 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses, 7 scored, 13 against for -6. That's the problem, scoring goals. And on the points, 11 from 30, which is 36.6%. 2 losses back-to-back. And you have to say in this one, it would be a lovely David and Goliath act should Harrogate take it, because that's really what it will be. Not of the magnitude of, Wrexham smashing out Arsenal. Not that big. But it would be a big scalping, let's put it that way. Is it likely to happen? It could. It could. There's no doubt about it. It could. It all depends what team Phil puts out and what kind of fortune Harrogate have on the day and the bounce of the ball. And if the referee calls a penalty when it's not, like last week against Charlton. I'm just saying, So the luck of the green, lady luck, and what happens in 90 minutes plus, and a whistle. And some of these puppies is all in the hands of the fate of the soccer gods or the football gods. So we'll have to see what happens there. But that's what I got for you there. And I tell you, I'm interested in seeing what happens. But again, it's unlikely for Harrogate to win. It's not impossible, because that's the FA Cup. The game we're talking about is 1981, Spurs taking on Man City, the FA Cup final. Long story short, my big brother, he was a couple of years older than me, and he was a big football fan, still is. And I was only a kid, and he had the money, and I didn't have no dinero, yeah? So I'm not buying tickets to an FA Cup final. And out the kindness of his heart, he took me to the FA Cup. Nearly got my face kicked in. That's another story. That's another story. By a Man City fan. And I mean, I'm not even a Tottenham fan. And that was back in the days of the hooligan scene, because things went strange back then in the days, yeah? But anyway, keeping it to the football, because that's why we're here. Eventually, you got my ticket. And the ticket was for the replay, because the first game finished 1-1, yeah? We won't talk about that. Just finished 1-1. But we lined up, queued up, per se, got tickets to the game. Bang. Long story short, we got tickets to the cup final. Bang. Long story short, we're in the crowd. We're in Wembley, the original Wembley. And I'm going to say it in, unceremonious fashion. The new Wembley is a lovely stadium, but it ain't shit on Wembley. That real Wembley that had all the history. Because I tell you what, when you stood in that old Wembley, stood, not sit. That place was electric. It was amazing. And I was lucky enough to get into Wembley a couple of times over the years, the original Wembley. But this new Wembley, it's nothing compared to the original Wembley, because that was everything. And that was the original holy grail of football, right? But I tell you, magic. So my brother takes me to the final. Getting a little bit emotional here. Woo! And the game was fantastic. You saw the highlights. If not, take a look.
Ardiles. Brilliant. And his Archibald has got a chance. Good save. Ricky Villa! Ricky Villa scored. Miller. Reeves underneath it. And now Hutchison to McKenzie. Oh, tremendous goal. Steve McKenzie. And Reeves puts City in front. Hoddle. Oh, the chance here for Archibald. Crooks! And Galvin wants to go on his own. Villa. And still Ricky Villa. What a fantastic run! He scored! Amazing goal by Ricky Villa!
So that's what I got to take in, just a glimpse of it, because that's just the goals, but it was the most amazing FA Cup final, spectacular. Oh, it was unbelievable. It was the perfect game. It was unreal. For a final, it went this way, it went that way, this way, that way. It was goodwill all the way. It was fantastic goodwill, an amazing final. And eventually there was one winner. Yeah, there was one winner eventually. But boy, what a game. And I was there in the crowd. They say there was 92,000 people in the crowd. Bullshit. There was way more than that, because there's people getting in without tickets by the score. It was loaded. We were like pinned up against each other. It was a warm night in North London. But it wasn't 35 degrees like, say, you know, somewhere like in South America. But inside Wembley, you were sweating your ass off. That's how many people were, you know, heating the place up, because there was no heating in the building, right? But wow, what a game. And I witnessed it and lived it and sang with the Spurs fans. Yeah, I still remember the song. Spurs are on their way to Wembley. Funny that we're singing we're on the way, then they're there. Anyway, Spurs are going to do it again. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You can't stop them. The boys from Tottenham. The boys from White Hart Lane. Oh, you. That was the song. Over and over and over and over and over, all game long. And it was mammoth. It was mammoth. And a memory that's etched in my footballing heart, brain, soul forever. And it was an FA Cup final, and it was the 100th FA Cup final. And that's why when I die, I've got some football history in my soul, man. I tell you, knowing the facts of that game, going to that game, being at that game, watching that game, I still see that game now. And I still relive the motion and the emotions. It was fantastic. If you've got a game like that, down below, you have to. And eventually Spurs went on to win it 3-2. And that Ricky Villa goal, Ricardo Villa, and obviously the maestro, Osvaldo Ardiles, both Argentinians. And they were two guys out of the Argentinian winning team from 1978 World Cup from Argentina. They were phenomenal. Not just Kempes, but Osvaldo and Ricky. They were brilliant for Tottenham. I loved watching them in league games. I'm sure lots of you guys did too, right? Yeah? Anyway, that's my biggest game in FA Cup history. And I'm a lucky kid at the time. Thanks to my big brother, because if it weren't for him, I'd have never been there. Anyway, shutting it down. I hope you enjoyed it. That's my take on it. Get ready for some Wrexham drama, FA Cup drama this time, because they've had some and we've had some. I'm saying Harrogate's had some, we've had some over the years, right? It could go back and forth. It's gone back and forth over the years. You know, it's not guaranteed that Harrogate's going to win it or Wrexham, but it's gone backwards and forwards over the years. So who's going to win it? We're going to have to wait. Sunday tells us everything. Sunday is the day. Good luck to Harrogate on a giant killing act, a big giant killing act over Wrexham. It's FA Cup. this FA Cup. It's time to loosen it off, man. It's a freebie. Have a beer or two, or a cup of whatever brew you like, because it's Harrogate, it's Wrexham, it's Wetherby Road, it's the FA Cup. Let's have it. Cheers.